Welcome to Tasty Success Themed Kitchens. I am Becca Stackhouse, Family and Consumer Science County Extension Agent in Crisp County, Georgia. You're joining the segment of the cooking portion of Tasty Success. If you'd like to catch the whole episode in the programming, find me at UGA Extension Crisp County Facebook and YouTube. We've already washed our hands, which you got to make sure that you do that before you get started. Make sure you wash them under running water for 20 seconds with your soap. And then we've got to get some hot water. So we're going to let it run just a second to get our hot water for making our dough. So you're going to need several things that you can see. You're going to need a cup of whole wheat flour, a fourth a cup of all-purpose flour, and then we've got sugar and salt, and we got a teaspoon of each. Then we have an envelope of yeast, and then we've got to have 2/3 a cup of hot water, and then you'll need an extra bowl or extra little bit of whole wheat flour in our rolling out. So that's what our foundation of our crust is going to be. And if you remember that you want to replace at least part of your wheat that you're eating with some whole wheat so that you've got whole wheat in your diet. So we're just going to dump each of those things in. So that was our flours. Now this is our sugar and our salt. And then we're going to dump our yeast in. I'm going to step over here to the sink and get our water. So you're adding in 2/3 a cup of hot water. And then we're just gonna mix our dough together. So it's that quick and easy to make your dough. So you can make your dough, make it healthy, put that whole wheat into your diet, and get it going. So once you've made the dough, it does take the dough about 10 to 15 minutes to actually proof, which means that it rises and it just has to sit there and go through the process. So what you can do is you just put a kitchen towel over it, and then you let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes while it rises. So we're going to set that bowl aside, and we'll cover it up. And then I actually already have some made so that we can kind of see how it's going to be made. So I'm going to so that's what that is. We're going to make our sauce. So our sauce is just a 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. This is just crushed tomatoes that I've got here. And you want one that doesn't have salt, so you're not adding extra salt into your diet there. And then we've got our garlic powder, our oregano, basil, and pepper. So those are the 4 spices that we're going to use in our sauce that we're making. So we'll get a little spatula and mix our spices into our sauce. So you can buy it already made, or this is stuff that you can just have sitting in your pantry and be able to use it in a variety of ways. If you don't want it with pizza, it can become your tomato sauce. Just have tomatoes, all different kinds. So that is our tomato sauce. And then the third part of our ingredient list is what you want for toppings and then your cheese. So those are all the items that we need to make our homemade pizza. So I'm going to bring our pan over here so that we can get ready for it. So you can use a round pan. You can use any kind of things any kind of pan you've got. So if you want round pizza, rectangular pizza, just depends on what you want. So we've got our surface, and our surface has been cleaned, just as our spices, which is okay. So we're gonna put a little bit of flour down on our surface here. So we're using that whole wheat flour with our dough. We are going to roll out. So a question we've got in our comment box is, did we drain the tomatoes? So those were actually totally crushed tomatoes. So I didn't drain them or do anything except open the can and then dump the can into our measuring cup here. So it's just straight out of the can, straight tomatoes. When you've got tomatoes coming off the vine, you can use tomatoes fresh off the vine too. The only difference is you don't always get the same amount of juice without letting them cook down or something like that. So we're gonna get our pizza dough all rolled out. So the toppings our recipe calls for, it just gives 3/4 a cup of diced vegetables is all it says. So that can be red and green peppers, onions, spinach. It just all depends on what you like to eat on pizza. I'm actually gonna make several pizzas, and one of my pizzas probably will have some chicken and onions on it instead of just having vegetables. So it just depends on what your favorite ingredient is on a pizza that puts vegetables.
As you're finishing up working with the dough, Amy in the Facebook chat also asks about how much you should knead the dough.
Knead the dough. So it says it takes this particular recipe, this particular dough takes about 5 minutes to knead is what it said. And then 15 minutes of sitting there proofing. So would it? So when we're talking about favorite pizza toppings, what are some of y'all's favorite pizza toppings? What's one of your favorite ones, Josh or Mary Beth or Grace?
Pineapple.
Did you say pineapple?
I used to hate mushrooms as a kid, but now I really like them on pizza. And ironically, like onions are good too, which is really weird. But basically any vegetable on a pizza, the more the better to me.
I agree. Mushrooms are my favorite, and I love black olives. I'm obsessed.
Do you like olives?
I love mushrooms too. That's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And red pepper flakes, but that's more of that's not a full-on topping, but it is like the finishing touch.
So I like peppers and onions. Those are usually my biggest ones, and usually pineapple with that too. So we're gonna spread our tomato sauce on here. So I'm just gonna put a little on and then we'll spread it all out.
Amy votes for broccoli and pineapple.
At the same time?
That is a very good question.
At the same time, so do you eat them at the same time? I want to know the answer to this question.
Sounds good to me.
It's okay. I like eating blueberries and chicken and onions on pizza. That's one of my favorite.
I'm intrigued. I've never tried that. I am pro pineapple. I'm just not sure all the things I'm willing to add it with.
Amy says yes. She meant broccoli and pineapple at the same time.
We make a lot of pizza at my house. And so typically it's whatever you put on it, it's your pizza to eat. So we're gonna put our cheese down. So our recipe called for just mozzarella, but I had some cheddar, so we're doing cheddar and mozzarella. There's a little mixture there. So you need about 3/4 the cup of your cheese. So I may not have, maybe just a little bit more. Then we're gonna add toppings on. So it's really not that difficult to make your pizza, and it really doesn't take that many ingredients. For the most part, I had all of this stuff in my pantry. Well, except the vegetables. They were in the freezer. So that is our pizza. And it is gonna cook in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes.